pop culture has been influenced by the idea of aliens. It's a little weird to me that it could have never been a reality. It seems like something that people aren't exactly creative enough to come up with on their own.
But pop culture been influenced by vampires? But where would you be on the vampire line?
Probably the same line.
Oh, you slightly agree that there are vampires running around. So the game is very, very simple. So I'm going to ask the question. Reed's going to write it down. We are going to do the claim: aliens are visiting Earth. Everybody got the rules? Awesome. Don't move until I say move. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, tell them why you disagree that aliens are visiting Earth.
The government's trying to cover up other stuff, so they're saying aliens so we don't see what's going on in the government.
So, and what are they trying to cover up?
That's what I don't know.
Okay. Okay, how do you know they're trying to cover something up?
Otherwise, why would they just release all this information all at once out of nowhere?
Okay. I'm coming to you. Do you think that there are no... Are you buying that there are no aliens as a cover-up for something else?
Although I don't completely disagree with what he said, I do think that there may be a chance that aliens are visiting or have visited. I guess this is present tense. So I think that they could be visiting Earth at this point, and maybe we don't know a lot about it. I think that itself could also be a government cover-up.
How likely is it that aliens are visiting? I mean, you agree slightly, so you must think it's more than 50%? Or no? I don't want to put a number in your mouth.
Definitely not. I wouldn't say that much. I think I'd probably go strongly agree if I thought, oh yeah, they're like definite, I can prove it. I can't prove it, right? This is more of a feeling. This is the feeling line for me.
So you feel it, but do you have any evidence for it?
Strong evidence that I can think of off the top of my head, probably not. But if we look at how much pop culture has been influenced by the idea of aliens, it's a little weird to me that it could have never been a reality. It seems like something that people aren't exactly creative enough to come up with on their own.
But pop culture been influenced by vampires? But where would you be on the vampire line?
Probably the same line.
Oh, you slightly agree that there are vampires running around?
Yeah. Have you seen Pharrell? That dude doesn't age.
Wow. Okay. Well, you threw me for a loop. Okay. So why you slightly agree that aliens are visiting Earth?
I think that the idea of aliens is plausible to me, and so I put slightly agree, because if they're plausible, then there's also a chance that they visited, but I don't have any evidence, so I wouldn't know.
So if it's plausible, but you don't have any evidence, how come you're not on neutral?
Because to me, it seems a little bit more naive to think that there's nothing else in the universe that is intelligent. So I think that this is there is other intelligent life in the future, or in space, but have they come here? I don't know.
So there could be intelligent life, but maybe they're not visiting us.
Yes.
Okay, how come you're on the slightly agree?
Similar, but basically I think it is naive for us to think that there's not other intelligent life out there. And because of our own obsession with reaching other intelligent life, why wouldn't other intelligent life be obsessed with reaching us? And they could have, better technology.
Well, like our SETI program or something like that? Or...
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't they be obsessed with reaching us? So it's very plausible that they could.
What do you think of this idea that it's naive to think we're alone in the universe and we're not being visited?
Oh, I don't think we're alone in the universe. I know the universe is huge, right? I just don't think that they have come here, because if they had, I think it would be way more known, not just these conspiracy theories, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that if intelligent life had visited Earth, you really think that they would have been able to keep it a secret for real, and there wouldn't be more evidence if they actually had? I totally believe in other life. Just think the universe is so big.
Well, what evidence would convince you to move to the slightly disagree line? What would you have to see?
An actual alien?
What about video? What about videos? Would that do it?
There's a lot of CGI out there. I don't know. There's movies, they look pretty legit.
Oh, like the new Avatar? That was pretty crazy. A terrible film, but amazing CGI.
Yeah, right. Yeah, something like that.
So how come you're on the slightly disagree?
I think that they've visited before but aren't currently visiting.
When did they visit?
Long time ago. I think it's weird that all old cultures have the exact same pictures on like their ruins and stuff that they painted, but they never talked to each other ever before, and they're very similar. And then I just feel like they're like, man, these people are pretty dumb. We're not going to come back here for a while, so they haven't come back.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, do you think so too?
I like that theory.
You like that?
Yeah. It could mean that there were other societies on other planets, but way before humans were around, so.
Okay, is there another explanation that explains why that could be? Assuming it's the case, like they draw birds. Is there another explanation other than aliens?
Other than aliens? I don't know. It's tough because it's like, if you think about way back then, people didn't live long enough to be able to travel like across continents, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So one thing for birds, I mean, there's probably birds on every continent in the world, so that would be pretty explainable. But for the weird stuff that's like humanoid figures with weird heads and stuff like that, maybe they were just really bad at art, or maybe there were other entities around back then.
And they copied those.
Yeah, and they copied that imagery in multiple different locations all over the world, and they couldn't have communicated it in any way. So it seems like it was a phenomenon around the world.
And can you think of an example in which they, I'm just thinking of that. You ever watch Stargate?
Not really, to be honest.
Well, it wasn't. It was a good show. But anyway, you know that alien thing that you have in the head, like the typical alien with the, I know you know what I mean. I just don't know how to describe. Yeah, with the big eyes and the head.
The grays.
Yeah. So is that the kind of thing you're talking about, like drawings like that?
I think that maybe drawings like that were kind of influenced by what people could have seen at that time. I think probably a poor rendition of it.
Okay, can you think of a place in the world that has that drawing?
Think of a place specifically? I think of Egypt, like when they look in Egyptian tombs and they see different hieroglyphics, but they see drawings as well. That's what I think of.
Of those kind of aliens with that head?
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of cats, to be sure. Is there anything that would what would it take to convince you to move to the agree?
To move to the agree, I would think some evidence.
What evidence would be sufficient to convince you that aliens were visiting us?
I wouldn't need pictures, but I would need like two or three separate accounts of people that maybe hadn't talked to each other but said similar things.
Really? So you wouldn't need pictures? But don't we have like thousands of accounts?
Yeah, but have we had accounts of multiple people? And maybe I haven't read them. I haven't read all of the accounts. But I think it's very possible that images or videos could be...
There's like Barney and Betty Hill or something were two people who claim to have been like... Oh, so you would need like over a city. For example, did you see Independence Day?
Yeah. Okay,
like this insane craft comes... or that and then this To Serve Mankind. I can't remember the name of that old 1950s film, but you would move to the agree line if a ship came down, and okay.
I would be strongly agree if it was a whole city that had all of the same account. I would move to agree if there were a handful of people not from the same like family or in relationships with each other, separately came and said the same account of something that happened, then I think I would move to the agree.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What would cause you to move to the neutral?
I think if we changed the verbiage, like, are aliens currently visiting? I don't really know. Maybe neutral, but have aliens ever visited? Maybe.
Okay, I have an idea. Everybody go back to the neutral. Everybody come to the neutral. You know those people who leak stuff? Anonymous. You know Anonymous? There is an unbelievable data leak. Like the type of data leak we have hitherto never experienced. And one of the things, this is a pretend scenario, one of the things that they leak is every conceivable government file, period, all of them, and anybody can look. And before they're able to take it down, a bunch of other hackers duplicate it and put in files that the Chinese upload, and everybody's looking at those. We have reporters, reputable reporters, who comb all of the files, and they come to the conclusion that there's no aliens and there's no cover-up and there's no conspiracy. Now I'm going to ask you the same question. Don't move until I say move. Given what I just told you, are aliens visiting Earth? Yes.
It's currently visiting Earth.
Currently or have visited, say, by currently I mean in the last 20 years.
Oh, in the last 20 years.
Not the experts say they haven't. All of the data that they have gone through and that has been voluminous. There's no conspiracy, no cover-up, no evidence of aliens. There are unidentified flying objects, but they can't link those to actual aliens. So you know that. You don't read it. You can read it, but experts read it and be like, well, there's no evidence of this at all. Okay, you ready? Don't move until I say move. Aliens are visiting Earth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. You're on slightly agree. Why?
If everyone is saying that they don't exist, I feel like that's a problem. All the experts agreeing. I think they got paid off by the government. Something happened. If everybody's like, every single document came, there's no possible chance of aliens. I think there's a possible chance of aliens.
That's kind of like
Any of the data.
that's kind of like a reverse conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just a normal conspiracy theory. If all of the people believe one thing and they're like, no aliens, no possible proof. There is crazy flying objects in the eye, but definitely no aliens.
So you would think like Anonymous purposefully withheld releasing information about alien.
No, you said I didn't read any of the documents. I think
You can read them. They're out there to read.
Yeah, but none of us actually do it. We just believe the people who are like the people who source that information.
Okay, so let's say they made them easy to search, and
I read it and believed that there was nothing.
no. The question is, would you believe if you read it? And you read through all this data. Some billionaire came and is like, listen, man,
Is it Elon?
Elon Musk says, I'm going to give you $1 billion. I'm going to give you $1 billion to read through all this. You read through all the documents. You're satisfied to your satisfaction that none of those, who is that fool? That none of those, that all of the documents are there. Would you change your mind
Yeah,
and go which way?
I would totally disagree. Strongly disagree. Am I moving over there now?
If you want, sure. Yeah, would you change your mind? How come you're only on the neutral?
So I'm just on the neutral because with the context that you gave, I would probably want to actually read through the documents myself to make my own.
Okay, same thing. You read through them all, you take a year of your life, there's nothing.
There's no proof of aliens in.
Zippo, Reno.
I mean, the government.
You'd get paid $1 billion for independent of what you decided. Okay.
How redacted are the documents?
0. They're leaked. They're all leaked.
So unleaked, unredacted, and there's no alien proof.
Correct. Okay, wow. What about you guys? How come you're still neutral?
Well, I was neutral because of my previous sentiment of I think it's naive to think that we are the only intelligent life, and maybe the government just hasn't found it yet. But if I'm able to read through everything, I wouldn't go all the way over there, but I would go to slightly.
Okay, you read through it.
I read through it, I would move to slightly.
Okay, go ahead.
Are they visiting Earth? Not do they exist? Because if the government has no info and no government does, could you...
I didn't say no government. I said the U.S.
The U.S. government has no info on aliens. And, maybe. But...
Would you... So there's no evidence for this from the U.S. government. You read it through all yourself. Same deal he got from Elon. Would you move?
I just don't know that if there are aliens that have the technology to come here undetected, that we would know about it. So there's a chance that even if the government doesn't detect it, they have been here. Or again, they've been here in a time before there were governments and technology to
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand. So one of the reasons that you guys have migrated to this side is because currently you must believe that the government is covering something up, or you wouldn't have moved. No?
From the beginning, you said we can see the data, right?
100% of it. You see every document, everything.
I work with data for a living, and the only reason I went to disagree is because if there's human involvement, there's probably room for error, so I didn't go to strongly disagree. So I stuck to disagree, but as long as I can see the data myself,
You can.
and I can come up with my own conclusion.
Yeah, fairly.
And it's pretty obvious that aliens haven't visited Earth or are not visiting Earth currently.
No. That's not what the data would show. The data would show that they have no evidence for it. It doesn't.
Right.
The data wouldn't show that.
Okay, I'm sorry. So if there's no evidence and it shows that they don't know, then I'm sticking with I disagree. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I just didn't go to strongly disagree because there's human error.
Because you're open to the possibility.
That someone messed up, because I work with data and people mess up all the time.
Okay. Okay, you want to have, I'll give you the final word, son.
So I kind of want to say the same thing he said. I didn't move all the way to strongly disagree because I do believe that there is an amount of human error that could have occurred, right? Maybe we didn't observe it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not possible.
Right, and that's why you're not on strongly.
Correct.
All right, did you guys have fun? Yep. Cool, thank you very much. Thank you. You want to take a picture of the YouTube channel?